All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning. This is Michelle Smith. I am the director for the Southern Obesity Summit and want to thank you for joining us this morning. This is the first time we've actually had something like this where we do a kind of a rundown on what the summit's about and where it came from, just to give people a little heads up and a better idea of what you're getting into if you've never been to one before. So appreciate you joining us. This year's summit is being brought to you by the Texas Health Institute and the Partnership for a Healthy Mississippi. There we go. So the summit, or the Southern Obesity Summit, started back in 2006. There was funding available from our Wood Johnson Foundation for something called the Southern Rural Access Program. And that was led by Regina Benjamin, who went on to become our Surgeon General. Texas Health Institute and the Arkansas Center for Health Improvement were partners in this, and that led to hosting the first Southern Obesity Summit back in Little Rock in 2007. We've come a long way since then. We're now the largest regional obesity prevention event in the U.S. and have hundreds of people from our 16 states, which consist of those you'll see listed there. I won't go through the list. We do have New Mexico added in there, and also Missouri, because they both had a desire to work on obesity and felt that they were facing some of the same issues that our southern states were. So aligning them with us was great. The more emphasis we can get on obesity prevention, the better. Once we finished in Little Rock, in Little Rock, Arkansas, Camille Miller, who is the CEO for the Texas Health Institute, set a goal of trying to host the summit in each of our 16 states. So since that time, we have moved to different states so that each state can have an opportunity to share what their efforts around obesity prevention are, and gain some of exposure and some support from bringing these people together in the state. We have been to Birmingham, Austin, Atlanta, New Orleans, Charlotte, which is the first, we had youth engaged there, and was the first time we worked on strategies. And then in Nashville, we expanded on the strategy approach that we started back in New Orleans. In Louisville in 2014, we focused on creating a culture of health. And then this year, we are focusing on policy as well as continuing to focus on the culture of health. We don't have the state commitment for 2016 at this point. We've talked to several states who are interested, but it's a big commitment, and so we hope to have some type of announcement at SOS. This is a little bit different than just attending a summit where you have workshops and you're learning and gathering information. We try to make this more of a working summit where you participate in strategy sessions and you meet with your state team and you try to develop action steps so that when you return to your state, you're going to be better prepared to work on obesity prevention issues. Just to give you an idea of who comes to the summit, the numbers are really changing in the last couple of years. We're approaching 50% who are under the age of 40, which is great. We definitely need to continue to develop and build our younger generation into this issue and make sure that it will continue to move forward. State government is a large part of this, as well as healthcare providers, foundations, nonprofits, youth organizations, academia, research institutions. And last year, when we did our evaluation, we asked how long the people who attended had been involved in obesity prevention, and we were really excited to know that over half of them had been involved in obesity prevention for more than 5 years. So that gives us some consistency and definitely means that there's some sustainability built into this. Why is it important for all of us to get together at SOS every year? Well, we have the highest rates of obesity in the South, and there is definitely a Southern culture that requires a little bit different approach to obesity efforts. There's a lot of emphasis in our Southern states on local control, not having federal interference, taking personal responsibility around issues. So when you start dealing with something like obesity prevention, keeping these things in mind and finding different ways to approach policy and approach initiatives and strategies that can work in the South is very important. A soda tax may do great in California or an eastern state, but in Texas or in the South, it's a lot more difficult to get something like a soda tax. So looking at other ways to reduce soda consumption and to encourage drinking water and things is some of the approaches we need to be looking at. Obviously, if we work together, we'll have a better chance of being successful. The collective impact is much more effective than if we're all working singularly. So we want to continue to help encourage and support our states as they try to work together within the state and with other states on different issues around obesity. Our mission is to help stakeholders strategize next steps to implement policy and program initiatives across the 16 states. We want to promote cross-sector collaboration and partnerships. We want to provide opportunities to share successful policy and intervention strategies. And we want to further define a Southern strategy that could encourage effective interstate initiatives and collaborations. One of the things we're talking about with the advisory group, we have an advisory committee that consists of members from each of our 16 states as well as some national partners. And so our advisory committee has calls and communicates during the year consistently, usually at least once or twice a month sometimes. And we're looking at what we could be doing effectively with our states, possibly on a federal basis, looking at what type of policies we could encourage our states to support and what type of infrastructure would be necessary to keep something like that going, as well as how we can better define and work on the policies and the strategies that we've identified over the last 5 years. Back in New Orleans, there were 5 pillars identified, and so we took those pillars the next year and started working on identifying strategies that each state could support under each of those pillars. We've enlisted the help of national partners to work with us on this. So for instance, on the early child care, we are working on ensuring that early child care staff is trained and certified in healthy nutrition physical activity guidelines. CDC, SECA, WIC, and SNAP have all worked on resources around this and have information available that could be supportive of states. We've looked at reviewing state licensing regulations, and we worked in between the summit with these different groups and with interested attendees to try to facilitate ongoing activity around each of these pillars. However, the Texas Health Institute doesn't have the capacity to really effectively work on all these strategies. So we're talking to our advisory committee again and trying to identify better ways for us to be supportive of states as they look at and try to implement strategies. These 7 strategies were based on IOM, CDC, and other national recommendations for the initiatives that would have the most impact on obesity prevention. So early childhood child care facility was the first strategy. We had nutrition as a strategy, which we split into food access, food systems, and then one on nutrition healthy vending. We have worked with the Food Trust and Voices for Healthy Kids, and there is a lot of activity in the South on working on increasing the number of healthy food outlets in underserved communities through fresh food financing initiatives. So you'll hear a lot about that at the summit this year, and then also, supporting healthier efforts to incentivize healthier food purchases through food bucks and different strategies that support purchases at farmers markets. So these are all things that You'll hear more about it in different breakout sessions at the summit. Healthcare and healthcare systems is the third pillar that we identified, and trying to work within those systems to ensure that obesity prevention is a covered medical insurance and has insurance available. And then nutrition policy, as I mentioned, we looked at healthy vending. This is something that's being supported through an organization called Center for Science and the Public Interest, as well as CDC, and we've worked to bring the National Vendors Association in last year to talk about things. We've talked with the Blind Vendors Association. So there's different groups that we will be able to connect you with if this is something that your state or your organization is working on within your state. Physical activity is a difficult one to hone down to one specific strategy. So that group continues to look at how we can support everyone, not just youth, but adults and youth, implementing 60 minutes a day of physical activity. So we've had everyone from Shelley Fole with the President's Council, worked with the National Association for Health, PE, Recreation, and Dance, Let's Walk America, and there's a lot of good information resources out there. We've talked about having mayors initiatives where we could get our different mayors on board to promote physical activity. So there's a lot of things that can be done. Again, it's not something that Texas Health Institute has the capacity to facilitate, but we're trying to work and connect all the different organizations with the states who are wanting to work on this type of initiative. Worksite wellness has been, we had a great group working on worksite wellness last year from Kentucky. They do have some really good initiatives in Kentucky as well as in North Carolina. So we have some good resources there if your state is working on worksite wellness, where we can helpfully share information with you and some good connections there. For schools, we tried to focus on embracing coordinated school health as a strategy because it encompasses all the different elements of health that are necessary for children to succeed, not just nutrition or physical activity, but family involvement, mental health, school environment, staff wellness. So we have several states who have been very successful with working on coordinated school health. We have some great partners with coordinated school health. Catch and Spark have been part of the team for the Southern Obesity Summit for many years, and we will continue to try to help foster good relationships and activity around coordinated school health. To help ourselves build sustainability and try to move past being just a summit, we feel that we needed a better logic model and some better ways to evaluate the summit itself and the progress we're making. We have anecdotal information from across the states that we collect through our evaluations. We know that the summit has helped drive policy efforts in different states, but we've not done the best job of tabulating information and bringing it together in a form that would make it something that would encourage foundations or other groups to want to fund this effort and expand it. So this year we reached out to some of our partners and have developed a logic model where we hope that we'll be able to evaluate implementation and outcomes for the summit itself. As we talked about a little bit about our mission, and we've identified assumptions that are based on what we've done through the last 9 years on this summit to develop a theory of change, which is involves motivating and energizing by sharing inspirational examples of successful policy and community-based interventions, working to develop capacity. Capacity is critical to success, and doing that through sharing of information and ideas, leadership information, skill development, partnership formation and research, which leads to opportunities, which opportunity is a requirement for change, hoping that we can share opportunities for funding, effective policies, major efforts and movements, and eventually this leads to the outcomes that we have identified here. So this will all be part of your packet that you'll get, and we'll go through a little more information, but I'm not going to dig deeply into the logic model this morning. But we're hoping that this is going to help drive future actions for the Southern Obesity Summit. And then we've also identified some long-term and short-term outcomes around our specific strategies. Basically, for each of the 7 strategies, and I will share this PowerPoint with you guys afterwards so y'all can review this, and love to have your input and comments on what we've developed for SMART goals. 75% of the states would have quality training programs for early child care centers on nutrition and physical activity by 2019. All 16 states would have viable coordinated school health programs by 2020. So they're reasonable. They would be attainable if we could work together collectively as states and support each other. So we'll talk more about this, and we'll hope to get some of your input at the summit. So when you get to the summit, you should be able to find an agenda. We've updated it, I believe, with a lot more information yesterday, and hopefully that is posted today, so that'll be really helpful. We have more pre and post conference workshops than we've had in the past. AgriLife Extension has a special workshop that they are doing around a Learn, Grow, Eat, Go curriculum that they developed. CDC and Action for Healthy Kids is doing a workshop on school wellness policies. And then Voices for Healthy Kids is doing a 101 workshop before the conference and a 102 workshop after the conference. And you'll find a few more details on these in that agenda. And then NNPHI chose to convene their SNAP Ed states to meet after the conference as well. So we're kind of excited that people are using our conference as a place to gather their people together to share information and also expose them to additional information. One of the things that we're trying to do this year is, again, to support what we're trying to support the states after the conference, is to get a better idea of what each individual within the conference is working on and involved with, and then what they feel would be most beneficial. So this form will be part of your packet. It'll be a 2-part form. We're going to ask you to look at this form in the beginning and fill it out as you go through the conference, and then leave 1 copy with us when you leave. And then what we're going to do is tabulate the information. This will help guide us on what we want to do around our pillars, what we do to support you as you're working on your obesity prevention efforts, and where the challenges are. And then hopefully we'll support you if you're making commitment to take on a certain activity next year. Then we'll be back in contact and say, okay, how are you doing on this? Were you successful? One of the things we're talking about doing is a monthly newsletter where we can highlight progress from different states on what they've been able to work on, different individuals within the states, and share that through a newsletter as we go through the year. So this is something you can expect to see as part of your packet. Will be a 2-part form, or we'll also have an option for you to fill it out online if you'd rather do it electronically. Then on Sunday, when we start off, we have our town hall session after you get through with the pre-conference workshops. And this is always exciting. The town hall this year is going to focus on disparities and issues around racial and ethnic populations. And we have Rosalie Aguilar with Salute America, who's representing the Latino population, Dr. Michael Miner, who is the minister from Mississippi, will represent and talk about the issues facing the African American community. And then Tamala Kennedy is with the Choctaw Nation, and she will talk to us about the efforts that they have and some of the issues that they're facing. So I feel this will be a really good discussion and a great opportunity to gain some insight into the different cultural and ethnic issues that are going on. We're also working on information sharing for all the 16 states and the work that they are doing, and hope to have a parade of states to share what each of the 16 states is working on, and we will share that with you. And then we're also doing a special Mississippi event this year, where it's called A Taste of Mississippi, and it's dinner and a movie. There is an extra cost outside of the registration cost for this, but it's only $25. And it's a chance to taste fresh and healthy foods that local chefs prepare. And also we'll have a appropriate movie, and I believe we even have some music planned. So this should be a lot of fun on Sunday evening and a good time to network and get to know people. We start off our busy day on Monday bright and early at 0600 with Major General Augustus Collins, who is going to lead a healthy run in Mississippi. And if you're not really a runner, there will also be an option for a healthy walk. So, but don't miss this opportunity. I think this is going to be great. Then we have Laurel O'Sullivan, who is with the Advocacy Collaboration, to talk and try to take some of the fear out of advocacy, and also talk about it from a coalition perspective and a funding perspective. We're really excited about her. She even has done a case study that we'll share with you from one of our southern states. So I'm real excited about that. Then we'll have our breakout sessions, which all focus on the 7 pillars. There are 10 different breakout sessions, and in each breakout session, there are 3 presenters. And we have structured this so that each presenter has 10 minutes to present. They're limited to the number of slides they have. And then we want this to be an open dialogue where when you come out of that session, you have found out the information that you thought was critical. So it's worked really effectively. It's very fast paced as far as what they're presenting. So they have to get the meat out there, and then you as participants get to ask the questions and have a dialogue with the presenter. So it's really, we feel like it's a really effective way for you to make sure that you're getting the information you need, and also you're getting to hear from at least 3 different people. And these all focus on the different pillars. Then we have an opportunity to either have a networking lunch, or we have started having some special sessions. This year we have some really strong special sessions. Trust for America's Health will have their new publication out with the latest numbers. This was what used to be known as F as in fat, and now it's got a different name, which is not quite as catchy, and I can't remember it. The Cooper Institute is going to present some information on FitnessGram. Mission Readiness is going to have another one of their generals is going to be there to talk about obesity as a national security issue. Salute America is going to have an opportunity to share their website and some of their different tools and resources that are available. Then Shelley Stewart with Takeda Pharmaceuticals and Senator Terry Burton from Mississippi are going to talk about federal efforts on obesity treatment. And then we have another United Healthcare is going to be joined with 4-H and Alcorn State University Extension Program to talk about their partnership and Eat for Health. So I wish we could record all these because I'd like to be at all of them. And then also, like I said, you have an opportunity to do networking as well. So you'll grab your lunch, you'll check into one of these. These are more informal. They can have some PowerPoints, but this is an opportunity for dialogue and back and forth conversation. So hopefully we won't have formal introductions or anything. Each of these groups is responsible for, talking and sharing, and hopefully you guys will get a lot out of that. Then we have our afternoon breakout sessions, which are very similar to the ones in the morning. Again, it's 10 different choices, 3 presenters per session. Then we have our strategy work groups, and this is where we hope that we can help talk through the planning form and have a discussion about what states are doing around each of the 7 strategies. What are the challenges? What are the opportunities? And there'll be a dialogue with national experts. We have set aside specific time for state team meetings, and there will be a specific room dedicated. If you are coming and you only have 3 people from your state, you can join another state if you like. We've had that. It's sometimes very helpful. Or if you're from a state that's not one of our southern states, California came to Texas last year which is great. They have a lot of resources and initiatives out there, so sometimes it's really nice to have that outside perspective. And then to enhance what the breakout, we have a reception and breakout poster session in the evening. So all of the presenters that did breakout sessions will have a poster that is basically made from their PowerPoint slides, and they will be available to talk. So as you go through your program and you're looking at the different sessions you want to go to and make sure you circle them, and then you can go and visit with those speakers in the evening, because they will be there to share, and you can ask your questions and get a little bit of insight that way. So if you can't attend a session and you still want to talk to someone about it, this will be your opportunity at the reception. Tuesday, we will start off, we have a poster session in the morning, so some of the people who weren't breakout presenters will have their posters there, so it's another opportunity for you to get some insight into some initiatives. And then our keynote is Dr. Maya Rocky-Moore, who is going to talk about creating a culture of health. She was our planned keynote last year and had travel issues and was just flat not able to get there. So we're really excited that she's going to be able to join us this year. Then after that, in the past, we have done pillar work group reports, and we have done away with that this year because we're looking more for individual activities as opposed to trying to report out and do something as a work group. So we have replaced that with roundtables on some specific topic areas. This is some of the topic areas we may be adding to this list. So you'll look for that information in your packet when you get it. But I do know that we have several of our states that are going to do some state strategies and share information on what their state's doing to improve nutrition or physical activity. I know Arkansas has some great news from their governor's office and is real excited, and will probably share some of that with us. And then our closing panel is the funding panel, and there's going to be a roundtable going on Tuesday morning where we have invited different funders to come and talk with each other in a group, and Robert Wood Johnson Foundation has worked with us on this. And then they are going to come together and form a panel with some of the grantees and funders to talk to our attendees as part of a funders panel as our closing session. So we're kind of excited. We hope this is an opportunity for funders to learn more about the initiatives they're funding and the type of things that are going on around obesity prevention, and hopefully a chance for attendees to ask some of those questions around how funders decide which direction to go for funding and some of the logistics about funding. So we're hoping this is going to be an interactive conversation with this panel that will be beneficial to everybody. Logistically, if you have not registered, then you still have time. The 5th is the last day for early registration discount. After that, it will only be on-site registration. There may not be inexpensive flights at this point, but there are flights. There's not a lot of nonstop into Jackson, but there are still opportunities. The hotel is the Jackson Marriott. You can go to southernobesitysummit.org and you'll be able to download speaker bios. You can look at the agendas. The breakout session spreadsheet will be there. So everything you're looking for can be found at southernobesitysummit.org. And we are offering our conference line capabilities if your state team is interested in having a call prior to the summit to talk about, getting together and what you'd like to accomplish as a team there. We'd be happy to help out with that if need be. Last year was our first foray into social media, and we were real excited to work with the group from North Carolina, helped us out with that. And we're real excited this year to continue to try to develop our social media. We have worked with a group in Mississippi who've developed a new and improved tip sheet for us. We have hashtag SOS MS 2015, which can be used. We are on Facebook and Twitter. The main thing we're pushing right now is Twitter. I know there's Instagram and there's a bunch of other different social media avenues. The ones that we monitor are Facebook and Twitter at this point. So you will find in your packet a little bit of information on using social media and even some demonstration tweets that can help you determine how to do this. So we're excited and hope that you will share what you're learning and share your experience with others during the summit. Even if you want to share the fact that you're going before the summit, that would be great as well. I also forgot to mention, if you go to the southernobesitysummit.org, you will be able to find a list of who's attending. So it's a continually updated list of everyone who's registered. So if you want to find out who's coming and who's coming from your state, you can go online and you'll be able to find that. I would like to thank the sponsors we have for this year. We have a great group of sponsors. AARP has joined us this year. We're really happy. Fahrenheit Creative Group is who is working with us on our social media as well as the promotion pieces that we've done. Big thank you to the Partnership for Healthy Mississippi, who has worked with us all year on the content and logistics for this, and all the rest of the sponsors that you see here are critical to our ability to be able to put on this summit. And then we also have some great exhibitors this year. We hope that you will visit them and they will have information that will be useful to you as well as you go through this summit. So I think that's most of what I have. I am happy to answer questions. I have one here. Working toward mandated nutrition education as a curriculum in grades K through 12 been considered? Physical education is required in most schools, but not nutrition education. I would say that's probably been part of discussions. It's not been one that has bubbled to the top and been put on the priority list, but definitely something that we can look at, and you could bring that up in one of the pillar work group sessions for sure. Does anybody have any questions on anything we presented, or feel you need some additional information still on anything? The summit is November 15th through the 17th, which is only 2 weeks away. Yes, there will be Wi-Fi available. There should be Wi-Fi available in all the meeting rooms, I believe. And let me see if Stephanie's on here. Yes, she is. Stephanie, I'm going to unmute you. Do we have Wi-Fi in all the rooms?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Stephanie, are you there? I'm pretty sure that we do have it in all the meeting rooms. I don't know about, oh, yes, we do. Yes. Is there Wi-Fi in the guest rooms as well, or is it just meeting rooms? Guest rooms are free if you have or sign up for Marriott Rewards. Okay. So if you are a Marriott Rewards participant, you will be able to access in your room. Otherwise, you will be able to access it at the conference areas. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Well, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great summit. I am totally looking forward to seeing all of you there. If you have questions that we didn't answer, you can email me at msmith@texashealthinstitute.org, and I'll get back with you as quickly as possible. If you haven't registered, I hope you'll get registered, and we will look forward to seeing you in Jackson. Thanks for joining us today.